from the back. The actual profile, just turn it around, comes out slightly before it cuts back in. So I'm glad I made it really hard for myself. I like the look of it. It's what I want. I've got to work out a way of replicating it. So here goes nothing. So just roughly cutting away the excess material, and roughly is probably the right term. And then we're going to sand it just very slowly and bring it up flush with the edge of the cardboard. 2 hours later. I'm pretty happy with that. Glue can be a bit annoying, but it's as simple as just give it a shave, snip those bits off.
We're trying to get it level, and we managed to get it level, so the pie cuts were successful.
Okay, so he's left a little bit of metal there, which is good because we probably need a little bit at the back there. Just a light tidy up, so just whizzing over the weld area. When I say weld area, just a couple of spot welds through here and through here, just to hold that in shape. And yeah, it's looking good. So we've really just kicked in these two pipes, kicked them in towards the centre. Probably gives you a bit better view, and that'll bring it inside the base of the hump at the back. We're still going to have to put a bracket across to support these, and then either cap these or returning a little bit of a hoop, because hey, it's a cafe racer and for some reason we have to have a hoop. So we better make a hoop on the back here of some description, so that all those avid cafe racer watchers won't cast us out of the cafe racer build society. First coat of resin on there. It's highlighting very clearly that we have a few lines that aren't quite the same. So this little line here, sitting a little bit lower, the top's rounded over a bit more than over here. This is a bit squarer, I think. So I'll play around with that, a little bit of body filler on there and coax that into place to make it align. It might even be just sanding this down a little bit first. This line here I like on the right hand side, it's quite sort of defined. This one here is a little bit more sort of rounded over, so it's been sort of rounded this way on the edge. I quite like that sharp line, so I'm going to try and replicate that over here. Spent some time today with a gentleman by the name of Bryn. Bryn works at Ace Fiberglass Supplies. I believe he's the owner there. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a husband and wife team there. This is part of their business, Ace Fiberglass Supplies. So I took my mould in and I couldn't believe how helpful these guys were. So Bryn just spent the time talking to me, you know, just going through the different ways of achieving what I'm trying to achieve. Talked me through it, showed me some moulds that he had there. Talk to me about the release agents, talk to me about different products available. We're working with a polyester product here. So we have some general purpose resin over in a box. I've got this product here. So tonight I'm looking at taking, so I've just put 2 of these, so 100 ml of polyester flow coat, so white flow coat. It's going to be mixed with talc and the MEKP, which is methyl ethyl ketone peroxide, and that's the catalyst. On the top of every can, Bryn's put plus the talc to go in with that, and a 2% catalyst. Picked up some tools while I was there. So tonight the plan is just to take this product here with the talc. This will form I'm going to make quite a thin, I guess, sort of filler, and I'm just going to do a very light thin coat over this just to get rid of the various cracks or joins and these sort of porous holes through it, and that's going to be the first stage, is just skimming it tonight. I'll let that go hard. I'll go and do some YouTubing and check out what Ace and a few of the other guys and who's on there at the moment. I see Craig from Doghouse is doing some pretty cool stuff and been doing some rides, and Ace has been doing some local rides around his place, and I keep threatening to put up a couple of videos, and I do have one, but good news and bad news. Last night I moved the KLR 650 KLR on, so that's gone to a new home. Gentleman picked that up last night. Hopefully he's going to send through some photos of his adventures where he takes the bike, and we'll post a couple of those online if he's happy to do so on the channel. But for now we're going to let that go hard, and then we're going to come back and I've put more on this side here just to do a bit of build up. but this is flow coat, polyester flow coat with talc, quite a lot of talc in it, and that's going to give us something to hopefully sand back quite nicely. I'm going to create a flat plate out of fiberglass down here for the base plate. I want that base plate to run past the end of here because I don't know what I'm going to do with the shape here just yet. So I'm going to get the tank out of the way for a start. Put that safely down there. And I want this plate to run from the back of the bike all the way up to where the back of the tank was going. So up against these brackets. Time to get the welder out. Okay, I'm going to tack this plate on here as I go and just push it down. Just trying to create that shape, so it's quite thin metal, less than a mil thick, half a mil. So this metal is not going to stay there, it's coming off afterwards, it's just going to give me a nice flat surface to work to on the bottom. Okay, so just got that sheet tacked on. It's the absolute bare minimum tacks, just little tacks there, just holding that in shape against the frame. I'm not worried at the back that it's not perfectly in line, left to right. It's just giving me that shape to now form the fiberglass to. I'm quickly going to go over this, get rid of the welding spatter off this, Then I'm going to cover it in plastic, just wrapping tape, which is a very good release agent. And then I will also, once I've done that, I'll just put some PVA over that, PVA release, and I just want to form this shape and just wrap over this tube here on the side. At the back here, I don't know exactly what's going to happen around here yet, haven't decided, so for now just going to keep it flat. I can always change that later, add a bit on, no worries at all. Anyway, good start, so let's get on with it. Right, I couldn't help myself, so I tapered the back to follow these tubes, just so when I do form the fiberglass it's going to round over this tube here. There's a bit of weld I've got to knock off there, just to get a nice clean shape. And also these little corners up here, I've taken them off just again so we can get it to fiberglass to form and round over here. I've decided that I've seen a couple of guys, Cafe Racer Garage, not too far away from me. So I've seen him use Glad Wrap, cling wrap, to cover up the bike first. So I think I'm actually going to do that just to stop all the drips and stuff going down from the fiberglass. I don't expect to have too much dribbles and runoff. I'm going to do this over a couple of evenings, just a series of layers, not going to try and lay it all up at once. So I'm just going to get the fiberglass to run down, come down, and the leftover edge, because it's going to get trimmed off. I expect around here it'll probably get trimmed off up here. Probably going to see this part of the tube around where the seat is, and then we're going to hide it back here, so I'm going to come down and cover all of this tubing at the back section, just round it down. For what I'm about to do, I'm fairly sure this will be okay. It's just a single layer over the top, overlapping in a few places. If I get a few drips down the bottom, not too much to be concerned about. But you know, nicer to be a bit tidier than have mess everywhere like I've got at the moment. Anyway, excuse my shed, it's a little bit messy. I'm working pretty hard to try and get the little music room off the side here done as well, my little office slash music room. So I've got bits of wood and offcuts down there, and I'll have a bit of a tidy up this next weekend coming, chuck it in the trailer and run the bins and get rid of it. So I'm going to start laying up some fiberglass on top of this today. Just want to get a couple of layers down perhaps, and see how we go. Just added a bit of tape there just to pull that little recess back into the corner, so this corner, just so it forms that corner. And better not forget, I'm just going to paint a bit of the old PVA release over the top of this as well. Just liquid mold release, cheap as chips. And yeah, so I'll just put that around where the fiberglass is going to go at the top. Chuck you on time lapse, I'll do that, and then come back. Well, you get to the point where you're filling and sanding and filling and sanding, and you start breaking through in patches, and sometimes you just got to stop, and it's a time to put a new layer of paint down. So I've got this, you know, it's not where I want it to be yet. I've still got a couple of coats of filler to run over the top, but next thing is to create that all over colour. So I'm going to lay down some primer filler. That's just going to seal some of this foam areas where I've broken through, chipped out, get that one colour on it, and then I can get the light onto it, then fill it again, sand it again, fill it again, sand it again, prime it again, sand it again, and then top coat with a 2-pack paint. So tonight's going to be primer. I've just given this a sand. I've still got, you know, quite a few rough patches and just where this is sort of sunken down. So I'll get these close. A little bit of work on these little areas here. prime it and then let it dry. And then tonight, before I finish, I'll just give it another very fine skim coat and just try and pick up a few of the little indentations and things and just build it up, sort of half a mil at a time at the most, if that. So that's where we're at. Carry on. If you hate sanding, do one of these. Filled, sanded, sanded, filled, painted, filled, sanded, filled. It goes on and on and on, but slowly getting closer to something that I can put a coat of 2-pack paint on. So I think tomorrow night I'll give this 24 hours to really go hard, these couple of last bits here. And then I think it's going to be a case of, I'll put another coat on some of this tonight. I might even try and just sand this off in about an hour and a half or so. Okay, so I've decided to shoot some colour onto this tonight. I'm well and truly sick and tired of trying to get the very fine imperfections out of it. You can probably see a couple of little ones really accentuated by the camera. Just a couple of tiny little low spots. Just little marks. Nothing too major. It's very, very soft material that I'm working with there, as far as, or should I say very thin material. So what I've decided to do is put the colour on, get a couple of coats on this, get a nice firm base, and then I'll wax it. I'll have a look and just see how big the imperfections are after we put the couple of coats of 2-pack on it, and then we can get, you know, half a dozen layers of wax on here and start forming the fiberglass over it to form the female mould, the split mould. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to put you on time lapse now while I get some paint in the gun and get it ready, and we'll lay down some colour. Right, well, we have a pretty thin layer of paint on there. It's highlighting a couple little flat spots, which is good. Nothing too concerning. Main concern is my stupidity in mixing the wrong hardener with it, and I had to end up spraying it sort of 3 or 4 very light passes. As soon as I did a bit of heavy stuff through the front, I was getting sort of fish eyes, or solvent burst, I guess you'd call it. So anyway, I laid that down. I mixed it the same the other day, and I had the same problem, but I was going on a lot heavier, and the problem was a lot worse. And I actually thought that I had contamination on the part, but now I realised what I was doing wrong. So I think I've just got 2 dissimilar companies' products, and I've tried to mix the base coat with the other one. Silly me. So anyway, it'll go hard enough. I know it goes hard enough to sand it, so that's fine. I'll give it a good clean off with wax and grease remover, and then tomorrow night we'll have this nice hard base, albeit a little bit pimply. So I'll just give it a light sand tomorrow night once it's gone off. Give it a wipe with wax and grease remover, and then I'll lay down a second, third and fourth probably coat of of this colour. And this is a colour that I just sort of had in my mind from the beginning that I'd try. Kind of, I guess, sort of a 60s, 1960s kind of old fridge colour, or appliance colour, I guess. So a bit of an off-white, and possibly a an accent of timber down through the centre there, and of course on the tank and a few other places. So that's my thinking at this stage. But once we've got this this mould, we can we can make pull a few different copies of it, and we can change it up, do different things. But yeah, I just thought, as I had to put some paint on this anyway, I thought I'll try a colour that I've sort of been thinking about. So that's where we're at. So call it a night, and might go and try and upload some videos and keep you guys happy. I know you've been waiting a while, so hope you're enjoying it. Okay, so time to put a second coat on top of this, possibly a third. We'll see how we go. First things first. Bit of safety gear. So I've got the paint in the pot ready to go. Safety glasses. I like to wear them, even though I'm spray painting most of the time. And we'll just get the fan going behind us so we get a bit of a draft going through the shed. just need to move this closer to the edge of the bench so I can get underneath the tail section. So excuse the view for a minute. I'll let that flash off a little bit, give it 5 minutes. Probably got enough for another coat down the sides, which is all I want to do. Just thicken up through the sides here. The top's looking pretty good. Not too worried about. It's a little bit orange peely at the moment. We'll just see how it flattens out as it dries a bit. Really showing up through here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little, two little low spots. We've got a little low spot here and a mark here, and I'm really just trying to create a shell at the moment on this. So get a few coats onto it. They are quite light coats, but I'm going to get 3 or 4 good coats on there, light coats, to build it up, and then I'll look at skimming it again, any little spots that need fixing up before we start waxing it, getting it ready for laying up the fiberglass. So I'm just going to stop you there for a minute, come back in a sec.